Unnecessary intro song to totally waste your time. All right. I promise you that I am not seeking out examples of I don't know, things to be aggrieved about, you know? I'm just going through the list and watching these Golden Globe winners and nominees, checking them off, just to see what it's about, you know? To actually hopefully find some good movies to watch. I like making art. I like consuming art. I like movies. At certain parts of my life, I was really obsessed with movies. Had convinced myself that I was going to become a filmmaker, have written many scripts and treatments and made music videos that are just tiny short movies, you know. I always thought that I was going to make movies, you know, and I probably would have if I wasn't so damn lazy. I might have, you know, I might have extrapolated some of these scripts into, and maybe I still will. You never know. With AI now, these scripts, I might be able to just upload it and say, hey, make this movie exactly how I've written it here. You know, follow all the instructions. There's the dialogue. Make the movie. We're coming to that point, by the way. We're getting very, very close to upload script, spit out movie. You know, and then go back and do fixes for a year and then never release it because you watched it 100 times and now you hate it. That's the other weird thing about making songs and movies is that you end up watching your own movie 1,000 times. You know? I don't even know how by the time you're done making a song or a movie, it's really hard to know if it's any good because you've literally been obsessing over it for whatever amount of time. Anyway, the movie I watched last night was a movie called Sinners. Didn't know anything about it. I just looked it up. I knew that it was going to be a movie with black people in it because I saw the cover, the DVD cover, even though it's not a DVD, the icon, the thing, you know, the thumbnail. It's got a bunch of black people on it. And I thought, okay, well, here we go. I didn't want to watch it. I said, just do it. It's on the list. You're watching the Golden Globe winners. So just watch it. And I like watching a movie without knowing anything about it because if you read a review first or if you hear a bunch of interviews first, then you go into it with this tainted attitude. Years ago, in my 20s, I volunteered at Sundance Film Festival. I lived in Utah, and I got the best job you could possibly get at Sundance. It's a volunteer thing. You're not getting paid. They give you food and lodging and stuff in Park City. So that's pretty cool. But, you know, you're volunteering. And my job up there was to run the press screening room. So running it meant I opened the doors, let everybody in, turned off the lights, sat in my perfect seat, turned on the lights, and said goodbye to everybody as they left. That was the extent of my job. And it was glorious. Because over and over again for an entire week, I would just watch a movie. The lights would go out. I would know nothing about it. I wouldn't even look at my program. Nothing. Everything I would know about the film would be presented to me by the film. You know, black screen, first, nothing. Just going into it. It was entirely 100% the film's responsibility to let me know what the film is going to be. And I loved that experience, even though, you know, in a week, you'd watch 50 films and only 3 of them would be any good, I still liked it anyway, because I don't mind watching a film that I don't like. I'm a really good hate watcher, not something I'm proud of. Anyway, so I don't know anything about Sinners. I look it up on yandex.com because I don't believe in paying to be subverted. And anyway, this isn't going to be a long scene by scene. It's just basically a bunch of black people in New Orleans in the olden days acting super cool and super oppressed and super victimized. The white man's bad. And so they're having to sneak and they want to set up this juke, a dance place in the middle of nowhere where black people can get together and listen to their blues music and dance and get away from Whitey, and have a nice time and wear their cool clothes and be badasses, be handsome, a little bit depraved, Oral sex. You got to watch oral sex if you watch this movie. Beware. Anyway, so I'm watching this movie, and there's no white people. And it's like, okay, they've left the white people out for a long time. But finally, a white person does come along, and it's a white lady. And she's in love with a lead black man who's twins. He plays himself twice. Michael B. Jordan. He plays twins, Smoke and Stack. That's their names. Super clever. But she's hopelessly in love with him, and for whatever reason, she speaks like a black person. And he's just like, oh, I can't. I can't be around you. He's ashamed to be around this white woman. And everybody's like, why are you with a white woman? Smoke. Anyway, so that's that. No surprise. White women just can't resist a black man. Just can't. Every white woman wants a black man, and a black man in this scenario doesn't really want the white woman, because that's what matches reality. In reality, we don't know of any black men that want to be with white women. It's the other way around. It's like they just have to beat off the white women with a stick. Well, that's what this movie's all about. But lo and behold, there was a white guy, because when they have to buy this club where they're going to do the Juke Club, they buy it from a KKK member. That's a shocker. It's a shocker. A KKK guy sells them the land, and he goes, hey, we're going to make a deal. We're going to make it once. This is the black guy. He goes, we're going to give you this money, but I don't ever want to see you again. If your KKK guys come around here, I'm going to blast them all. And the KKK guy looks like, whoa, boy, this boy is talking to me. This boy, you talking to me like that, boy? We don't like it when boys like you talk to us, man, like that, Cartoon, KKK, Boss Hog. He's got the shape of Boss Hog. They should have just gotten Boss Hog to be this KKK guy. But, so the next time a white person appears, they literally are a vampire, a KKK vampire. And that's this movie. I don't want to go through the whole thing. This whole movie is that white people are vampires, right? It couldn't be more on the nose. White people are evil vampires, and then all the rules of vampires apply. You have to invite them in, garlic, wooden stakes, the whole nine. You know how vampires work. So I don't think they use a silver bullet, but daylight, they burn. Little on the nose there. I do, in fact, burn in the sunlight. But the thing that struck me about this, and this is what this channel has turned into this theme. I kind of got more views, and people have been coming by ever since I decided to abandon individualism and adopt kind of a tribalistic kind of way. Because I looked at the world and I thought, white people are not going to do well unless they start becoming tribal. Every other tribe is tribal, and white people aren't tribal. Why is that? And then we've just been going through and dissecting the reasons why. And it turns out that white people have been brainwashed for my entire life, at least, to not be tribal, to be an individualist, to look at being tribal. White tribalism is considered really, really bad. There's really nothing more forbidden than white tribalism. That's Nazism. But this movie is a perfect example. Every white person should watch it. It should be required viewing for white people, this movie, Sinners. Because I can't think of a better example of black tribalism and the way other tribes feel about white people. If you wanted to say, how does your average black person, generally speaking, we're not talking about the exceptions, there are exceptions always, but when you're talking about the tribe and the general attitude, this movie, I think, gives a perfect example of how black people feel about white people. That they're white devils, they're vampires, they're dangerous. If you let one in, it will kill you. It will suck all your culture out. It will steal your music. It will steal your vibe. It will steal your property. It will steal everything about you. That's what white people will do. That's what this movie is saying. And it's very clear. Every other tribe is allowed to have this kind of this self-interest, self-preservationist interest, but white people, for some reason, no. And even in the movie, the white lady just wants to be so badly with the black man. I love you. You don't understand. You left me alone. I've been waiting for you. Anyway, the thing that's shocking to me is that white people just say, okay. We don't just say, okay. We say, thank you, sir. May I have another? Oh, you think I'm a bad vampire, that I steal everything and I'm stealing your culture? I'm a cultural appropriator? Yeah, you're right. Give me more. Can you tell me another movie about that? I want to see you. It's this weird, sadistic self-punishment, pee on me kind of thing. It's really weird. And of course, this is after 50 years of this, but still just watching it and thinking, most of the audience for this movie was white people. That's just statistically speaking. I mean, Ryan Coogler, the guy that made the film, I looked this up after I was done with the movie, done with all the gore, the blood and gore, and I mean, to be fair, black people turn into vampires too, but only after they're bitten by the white man, by the KKK white man, And, but it's just interesting to me. I think I'm not even going to criticize black people for doing this because maybe it is healthy. Again, this is me just flipping and flopping on my old individualism way of looking at the world, I would object to all that stuff, No, we have to look at individuals. Individual people are the only thing that matters. But when I look at this movie, I'm thinking, well, this is kind of, I think, an honest black perspective. And I think most black people that I know, exceptions notwithstanding, we're not talking about the exceptions. As a rule, black people are very skeptical of white people. They don't even like old white people things. I don't know if you know this, but white people don't, or black people generally don't like antiques and stuff. You won't go into you know how white people just love antiques? I'm one of these people, old shit, old trunk. Black people get afraid of that shit because of ghosts. I go, ooh, I don't know what that is. That's scary. It looks haunted. It's old-fashioned. Get rid of that. Give me something brand new and shiny. Fake gold. But, yeah, this movie is kind of, if you were to study it in a sociology class, you'd go, this is propaganda or lore or story of black people warning other black people, beware of white people. White people are vampires, you know? Of course, we don't need to, we can, you know, vampires being the ultimate culture vulture, sucking our culture away from us. You know, we invented the blues. We changed the world. There's this one scene. Okay, watch the movie and try to imagine it flipped and white people making it. About how wonderful white people, but then the first black guy comes in, I don't like you white people. I'm going to kill you any moment, you know? At one point, there's this scene in this new juke club where this guy's playing the blues. And by the way, this is a nitpicky thing. If you're going to make a movie about a singer or a blues musician that is so good that he transforms the entire world, you should pick a performer that actually has that quality. And there are lots of them out there. There are very talented blues musicians. There are talented musicians and singers out there. They didn't do that with this one. This guy's not a good singer. He's not a good guitar player. And so that's kind of like, wait, what? Why are you having this guy? Anyway, there's this one scene where he's playing his music and everybody in the club, all the white people plus the one white girl and an Asian, there's an Asian couple too. They get to come in and they don't have Asian accents and they act mostly black. So the club, and they're just there to help. They're the hired help, the Asians. But so this guy's singing, and it's supposed to be this transformative thing, and everybody's just like, oh, this is amazing, this blues music. But then the filmmaker, Ryan Coogler, decides that he's going to bring in all the culture of it goes back and you see, all of a sudden in this club, you see modern hip-hop musicians, a 70s Bootsy Collins type guy. You see like a guy like Prince. You see all of a sudden there's turntables. So it's a mixture of the past, the present, and the future. On the nose, literally what he says. And you see way back to African tribal dances. So it's just like saying, look at all of the wealth of this African stuff. And black people are really, really good at this. We invented everything. We built America. We were Wakanda. We was Kangs. We was Kangs before the white guy came along, you know. This delusion, these stories that they tell each other about how it's all about the black people. Now, this is fantastic and this is fine, but imagine a white person doing that. You know, imagine the same scene done by a white person where you go back and pull all the white things together. People would go, oh, this is the worst. This is Nazism. This is, you know, look at what they did with Sydney Sweeney for just saying she had great genes. She has great genes. White supremacy. But you can do a big scene. You can do a movie about how black people are just the most wonderful thing. And by the way, I found out that Ryan Coogler also did the Black Panther movies. Wakanda, that's his mind. Okay. But yeah, try to imagine that. And let's just ignore the fact, you know, while he's saying white people are vampires, literally, that's the movie. White people are vampires. If you get close to them, if you invite them in, they will bite you. You will turn into a vampire, and you will die. You know? That's the way it goes. They're the new KKK. Vampires are the KKK, and they're all white. And they will steal your soul, your music, maybe even your girlfriend. But let's just we're ignoring the fact that, the blues didn't come up out of nowhere. It came from the 1-4-5 progression. Not to get all music theory about you, but 1-4-5 is just a progression of chords that blues is based upon. And 1-4-5, of course, goes back. It's a phenomenon of Western music. We're talking going back to all the white guys, Gregorian chants, the evolution of Western music, the notation, the scales. 1-4-5 is just part of that. So is the 2-5-1. All country music, all of the bluegrass music, rhythm and blues, the blues, it's all based on 4-5-1 or 2-5-1, 1-4-5, whatever. It's the same resolution. So let's just ignore that fact that the blues is based upon Western music, which is a white thing. Let's ignore the fact that, I don't know, maybe right angles for buildings. The whole building was built by white people, that the cars, where'd the cars come from? The cool cars, white people. What about the fashion? Well, it's certainly not a loincloth. Where did the whole idea of a three-piece suit come from? White people, How about even the guitar? Oh, well, you could say the guitar came from, Middle Eastern instruments, stringed instruments. It evolved. You could say it evolved, but not really. Fender, okay? The guitars as we know it, the blues guitars as we know it, those are white people. Electric guitars, that's white people. They invented that. So while we're calling the white people vampires and culture vultures, every single thing in the movie is a black person slightly adapting something that a white person invented. Oh yeah, you guys got suits. Well, we're going to make them a little bit longer, a little bit more colorful, a little bit more flamboyant. Same stuff, more tacky. Oh, nice car. Well, we're going to put bigger wheels on it, brighter colors. Same car, more tacky. If you want to talk about black culture, it's like you take white people things and then you make them tacky. You add flavor, as they might say. Not vegetables, but spices, which are concentrated vegetables. And by the way, who's making the spices? Who is making the spices in the shakers that you're shaking on and thinking you're being so flavorful? Well, those are white people things too. The whole idea. Not the whole idea, but you know what I'm saying. Like everything's just take a white person thing, turn up the volume, turn up the color, make it garish. And there you go. That's black culture. That white people then steal back. I don't know. Oh, we like it. Even though they never actually do it. The white people never actually do wear the zoot suits. They might black up their voice a little bit when they're around black people for who knows what embarrassing reason. Is there anything more embarrassing? Literally anything more embarrassing than a white person trying to assimilate into black culture when they're around black people? Yo, what's up? What's up, cuz? Check it. Yo, bitch. Yo, man, what's up? Gavin Newsom talking to black people. Yo, yeah, we was eating mac and cheese when I was a kid. Yeah, I was poor as fuck. I was just eating Wonder Bread, stacker. It's like, you're embarrassing everybody right now, Gavin. I've been smoking 55 years. I see, this is what I do when I get around black folk. I talk like this. I go, what's up, nigga? What's up, my nigga? I'm an old black guy. I mean, why not just go all the way with it? If you're going to assimilate, why not be a 75-year-old black guy with lung cancer, throat cancer? So that's what you get. And I'm impressed by it. That's why I say I'm impressed by it. Why can't white people be like that? Why can't white people, why aren't they? Nobody's preventing us. It's only our own sense of, I don't know, why do white people want so badly to get along with other tribes? Why do we go out of our way? I can't figure it out. Why do we line up? Why do we get together to give awards to this shitty movie? It's not a good movie, okay? Even if you take out all the other stuff, if you just watch it, it's a schlocky, another vampire movie with black people. That's all it is. It's no big deal. You take the black out of it, it's another boring, stupid vampire movie. There's nothing new added to it except for the black people. That's the only thing that's new about it. Everything else is just stolen from every other vampire movie. What are there, hundreds of vampire movies by now? You know? The spin is that, white people are the vampires and black people should stay away. So I watched the movie. I'm like, okay, that was shit. It's baffling to me why. It's embarrassing that all the foreign press got to get together to give this guy an award, like, oh, you're a genius. And I'm thinking, all right, let me figure out who Ryan Coogler is. And I found out that he did Wakanda, Black Panther, also Fruitvale Station. I go, oh, well, there you go, figures. Fruitvale Station was a movie that was about the Oscar Grant. He was killed on New Year's Eve in an Oakland BART station, and it was controversial. He was executed by the BART cops. You watch the video. I remember even back when it came out how he totally fictionalized it. He made Oscar Grant into a lovable character. He erased the fact that he had a criminal record for drugs and possession and firearms and blah, yada, yada, yada. You know how the black people do it. They'll erase everything. And this is kind of what I'm talking about. Black people are so tribal that even their worst criminals, OJ, they can know that he did it. Like, that was the whole thing. I don't know if you remember going back to then. Everybody knew that OJ did it. Everybody. The black people knew too, but they didn't care. And they celebrated when he got off scot-free. They loved it, even though they knew. So it didn't matter that he murdered this white woman. They were glad. That's how tribal they are. If white people could be even kind of tribal like that, this world would be a different place right now. But we can't even, not only can we protect our worst, we're not going to, white people don't rally behind their worst people. We get as far away as we can from people who simply want to talk about being white. That's how bad white people are at tribalism. They're so bad at it that, like, during this recording, most white people would hear me talking and they're like, I don't want to be anywhere near that guy. That guy's talking like a Nazi. That guy's talking like a white nationalist. That guy's talking like a, Metzger. He's evil. That's how bad white people are at tribalism. Not only can we not stand up for our criminals like OJ, like black people stood up for OJ, and black people will remake a whole story about Oscar Grant to portray Oscar Grant as this amazing guy. George Floyd, no, not only is he not a counterfeiter who was on fentanyl, no, he's a hero. Black people are so tribal that they'll take their worst people and elevate them to sainthood. They will polish all the edges off to make them look good. And white people are somehow the opposite. We can't get enough of telling everybody how bad our white people are. It's kind of insane. And it does make you think, is that genetic? Is that a genetic predisposition that white people have? Or has the cultural programming just been really, really effective? I think black culture has been programmed too, but did it work the same way? I don't think so, because there's a lot of Jews have also targeted every other tribe in the media, making them feel like victims. White people were programmed to believe that they're the victimizers, and black people were programmed to believe that they're the victims. And of course, this movie it's a total manifestation of that. The final scene, by the way, the final scene is this Michael B. Jordan just slaughtering a whole group, like 50 white guys, because they're all KKK. They've all come back to Welch on the deal, to take the club back, even though there's all the vampires. It's kind of implied that the KKK sent the vampires in there to begin with. It's like, we got their money and now we're getting the building back. But then Michael B. Jordan just enrages with a machine gun, mows down all these KKK white people. And everybody's supposed to go, yes, kill them, kill the whites, kill the white. I mean, can you imagine if that was different? Some white guy just mowing down a bunch of black people, and a crowd full of white people cheering, yay, good, kill the black people. You can't even imagine it, because we're in a society that's so far away from that kind of thing ever being allowed. Like the cops would show up. It would be condemned. Anyway, so the movie ends like that. I'm thinking, oh my God, this was a shitty movie. And it's so obvious why it was nominated, because white people just love to say, oh, we love black people. It's so brave of you to make this movie on racial topics, exploring the racial undertones. It's like, no, that's not what it was. It was saying, hi, white people, you're vampires. You deserve to die. All of you. That's how we as black people feel about you. You're vampires, and you all deserve to die and burn in the sun. That's the thesis of the movie. But white people, no. Here's the funny thing. So after I'm done with the movie, I ask Rock, who made it? This is how I find out it's Wakanda. I still haven't seen Wakanda or Black Panther. I'm going to now, just because I'm on this little tangent. But I had seen Fruitvale Station, and it annoyed the shit out of me, even back when it came out, in like whenever it was, 2010 or something. But so here's the news flash. Your phone is listening to you. I get done. I go, okay, I'm going to go to sleep now. I'm going to put on my podcast, see if there's a Dana Carvey, David Spade podcast. Nope, they haven't posted one. Did Conan post a new one? Nope. So what does Apple recommend to me? Amy Poehler. I've only listened to a podcast one time. It was unlistenable. But Amy Poehler is interviewing, you wouldn't guess it, Ryan Coogler. I'm like, damn, you fucking phone. You are doing too much. But so I listened to it. I've never heard Ryan Coogler's voice before. But I suggest I wouldn't feel bad if you pause this right now, go over and listen to Ryan Coogler and Amy Poehler. Just listen to it for 5 minutes, if you can stand it. But his voice is like how you would imagine a white guy imitating a black man, right? Yeah, yeah. Know what I'm saying? After time. There's all these words. Sometimes you'll hear, there's a way that black people speak when they're around black people that you go, okay, that's just the way they speak, and they all sound like that, and it sounds natural. And then there's the code switching black people like Kamala Harris that turn on the black. What's her name? The black congresswoman that's just so insufferable from Texas. That woman who's really blacks it up when she's around the black people. So, they know the difference You know they can speak straight English, and you know that they speak a certain way when they're speaking to their mother at home. And then there's this accent that they all do that reminds me of when I first moved to San Francisco. I didn't have my own friends set up down here. I had one, but I kind of end up kind of adopting the friends of who was my first roommate down here, who moved down here first, who was this guy who was one of these guys. He was a white guy that was trying to be as black as possible. He did music. We produced music together, and the music he was making was completely R&B. He's a white guy from Texas and Utah, Mormon guy, but his musical style was totally just aping Stevie Wonder. You know, in fact, when we were trying to come up with a name for his act, Little Something Morris. What was Stevie Wonder's name? Little Something Morris. But anyway, we considered doing that, and all the music we were producing was totally R&B, totally aping black music, which of course is aping Western music, and I don't want to repeat that. But he was one of these guys, and the crowd, the group of guys that he hung out with were these San Francisco, there's this Bay Area kind of hip-hop bro accent that is totally contrived, that when 5 of them in the room together, they all kind of start sounding like this Bay Area black accent thing. And there are more extreme versions of it. But you listen to that interview of Amy Poehler. This is the phenomenal thing about this whole experience, is that Amy Poehler is gushing over Ryan Coogler, who's doing this fake black accent. I know he's a black guy, but what you find out is that his music composer's this white guy from Berkeley. And the whole picture just kind of comes to me, and it reminds me of, you know, the early 2000s Bay Area scene, which is totally really trying to do multiculturalism. So the white guy, the black guy, the Asian guy, and everybody's hanging out together. But it's in this uniform sort of black culture. It's not like a mix. It's not like the black people are becoming more white. No, it's everybody's going towards the black thing. Everybody's going towards the graffiti, towards the culture. It's hip-hop culture is the pervasive thing. You know, it's not black people coming to white culture. It's white people and everybody else going towards black culture. And everybody behaving more black than they would around their mothers, you know? And all these people were like that. And I didn't like it, but I didn't have any other friends. And, you know, you kind of, you get along with people as much as you can. And, you know, some of them are charming. But that kind of accent, it's like this, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I just do the best I can, you know what I'm saying? You know, And it's almost like there's this fake sort of dumb guy that's imposed upon it too. You can't sound smart, because if you sound smart, you're a nerd. So everybody dumbs themselves down, gets as cute and funny as possible. And you see this. I mean, you don't see this in white culture. You know, that's the phenomenon I'm kind of trying to talk to, is everybody goes to that. If you present this, who knows why it is? I don't know why black men, when they get around together, have to change their language, and they adopt new words, you know, lingo. A lot of linguists will talk about how the language is always changing in black culture, because they're literally, guys will figure out a different way to say a word. Little idioms, little affectations will notate, you know. You see the difference between the way a black guy in the 70s talks, jive turkey, you a jive turkey, you know. And then you've got, it seems like every 5 years, the accent, the black accent is evolving, it's changing. Crazy phenomenon. But it's kind of like a hierarchical thing. Somebody figures out a new way to say, or a new way to express. It's a lot to keep up with, you know? And so when you're listening to Ryan Coogler, for me, I'm seeing a guy that's trying so hard to be cool in the black way, that it's not even consistent. You get a little bit of 70s, you get a little bit of this, you get a little bit of early 80s black accent, you get none of it sounds authentic. It all sounds performative completely to me, because, when you hear an Australian speaking an accent, like the way the R's are pronounced, it's consistent, so an AR at the end of a word will be the AR at the end of every word, and they all sound pretty consistent. But when you get into cultural kind of lingo, like black sense, they don't match. One word will be a hard R, one word will be an A, what's up, nigga? It's like you have to pronounce the word this way. I'm beating a dead horse here. But anyway, so I'm listening to this thing and I'm just going, oh man, this guy is sounding so intentionally dumb. Like it's an act. He's being this cute, dumb black guy, hood rat kind of a guy. And I'm knowing just by having been familiar with the culture around here in the Bay Area, that the multicultural, and plus they let go because Amy Poehler interviews his music director. And they've had this long history. They met in film school here in Berkeley. This guy writes scripts. This guy does all this stuff. So he's not a dummy. There's nothing dumb about this guy. But he desperately tries to sound dumb because that's the culture. That's the black culture. He can write a script and he can direct a black actor to give that, who's the guy, Training Day? Why did I forget his name? He can write a character to sound really smart and, but he's got to act the dumb guy. And to listen to Amy Poehler. Okay, this is the huge difference between black culture and white culture is like this movie is so on the nose. White people are vampires. White people are the devil. Stay away from white people, murder them with machine guns. This is such a black fantasy about white people and how they should be dealt with. But Amy Poehler doesn't sit there and go, she just gushes over, oh, you're a genius. It's so great. It's so powerful. You're literally, she said genius about 10 times. She doesn't once go, even as a joke, go, so what's this? You really hate white people, don't you? Why do you hate white people so much? Like, not one person, I don't think, would interview him and ask him. Like, where are the white people? If I was interviewing him right now, I would be saying, okay, let's talk about this, all these things. Do you really think white people are vampires? Do you really think that white people stole your culture? Do you really not know that the 145 and all these things, how about the right angle on these buildings? Do you really not understand the difference between the mud huts in Africa and the buildings and the glam and the glitz and glam of the gilded stuff that you're throwing at black culture and you're acting like we was kangs? Do you really not know? Why do you hate white people so much? I don't hate white people. And he's doing such a, it's just amazing listening to him and Amy Poehler because they couldn't be, polar opposites. They're polar opposites. Look at that. God's poetry. But she's just there kissing his ass. This whole thing never once brings up, yeah, you got some psychological issues, dude. Like, if you really think that every white person is the devil and a vampire, and it's not like this is a new thing with him. We got Black Panther, and she goes through this thing where she talks about, I just want to tell you, I went and saw Black Panther with my kid, and he's a 12-year-old kid, and it was transformative when we left, and I just want to thank you for that experience, that now, we left the theater and our world was different. The sky was a different color. She actually said that. The sky was a different color. I want to make fun of her, but as soon as she said that, I thought back to me and a friend of mine in Salt Lake City going to see Boys in the Hood. Remember that movie, Lawrence Fishburne? And we just really got into the story. Oh, man, it's so hard, life in the hood. And it was, again, we left the theater and he and I were kind of like feeling transformed, like, wow, now we understand the black psyche. It really is hard to be a black person. We took upon ourselves the burden of the black man, and we felt it in this movie. And we became more social justice warriors in that moment. We decided we're going to look out more for the black man than we are for white people. We need to use our privilege to help these black people. This friend of mine, he ended up literally creating an art career where he'd go around to art fairs, this white guy, friend of mine, making, on the nose, jazz sort of New Orleans style paintings of black people. Purposefully done, there's this outsider art look in the jazz paintings of New Orleans and stuff where the proportions are off and everything's off. He started aping that and he made a whole career out of jazz musicians. So I guess that he fulfilled the vampiric sort of, prophecy from the movie, It's just embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for my tribe. I'm just embarrassed for my tribe. We fell for it. We bend over backwards. When I was asking you to imagine flipping his script around and just, reversing the races of every character, how the world would be ending right now. There'd be fire and I can't believe this movie's out there. Nobody would go watch it. It would be universally panned by critics as being Nazi propaganda. I can't believe there's a scene where a white guy mows down. Don't you see? This white person represented all the black people as vampires, as devils. It would never. Theaters would be picketed, probably burned down. There'd be violence. There'd be riots in the street. And we just take it. We go, okay. Call us the devil. Call us vampires. We'll give you awards. Here's a Golden Globe. It's the world. We painted a globe. Here you go. Come on my podcast. I'm a little white girl. I'll fawn over you endlessly. Never once ask you why you hate white people. And you kind of got to expect that from Amy Poehler. She's a peewee. She's like 4'1". She weighs 90 pounds. If you're her, you have to kind of submit to that kind of intimidation. That movie, you could say fairly is intimidation. White people, we can kill you. We're going to kill you. This is how we think of you. This is you according to us. This is what you deserve. You all deserve to have wooden stakes driven through your hearts. Oh, Merkley, come on, it's just art. Art has meaning. And before you say it's just a one-off vampire film, look at Wakanda, look at Black Panther 1, Black Panther 2, look at Fruitvale Station. Look who is demonized in every one of Ryan Coogler's films. Who is the demon? Who is the unhuman? Who is the person that deserves to die? And why do they deserve to die in every one of Ryan Coogler's films? It's a white person, and they deserve to die because they're white. They're vampires. But here you go. Here's your award. Nice job, pal. Don't drive a wooden stake through my heart. Yeah, we got to turn around. This is why I'm a tribalist, because they're tribalists. You can't be an individualist when everybody else is a tribalist. I just want white people to take even a little bit of a lesson from that. Just a little tiny lesson from that. And that is, It's okay. It's okay to make excuses for your tribal members. It's okay. You can look out for people in your tribe. Instead of trying to get away from them, instead of joining the other tribe, you can just go, no, actually, you know what? This is bullshit. Your movie's bullshit. Okay? This whole childish notion that all white people are vampires, it's stupid. You're stupid, Ryan. You're stupid. You see that little accent you're doing where you're trying to sound cool and cute and tough? It's stupid. That's not how you speak to your mother. That's not how you speak to your wife. So why are you doing it on my fucking podcast? What's wrong with you? Are you a pussy? Are you afraid that people will see that you're just a normal person? Are you afraid of being considered to be normal? How do you talk when you're talking to your Swedish composer friend when nobody's around? Maybe talk like that on the podcast. Your movie sucked, Ryan. It wasn't good. The reason why people are fawning over you is because you're black. Okay? That's why you got the Golden Globe. Your movie isn't good. Can you handle that? Nickel. Can you take that? Are you going to get mad? Are you mad now, Ryan? Drive a wooden stake through my heart? Throw me out in the sunshine so I burst into flames? Yeah, man. Other tribes aren't looking out for your tribe. Okay? They aren't, white folks. The Jews aren't looking out for you. The Asians aren't looking out for you. There's some fuzzy area with the Latinos. I do think that there's a little bit of a bleed over, especially with lighter skinned Latinos. I think that there's some kind of, I don't know, we can get along with them. And even kind of Native Americans, honestly. But yeah, the Asians aren't looking out for you. The Jews aren't looking out for you. Black people are certainly not looking out for you at all. You shouldn't go to their neighborhood because they will laugh and celebrate when you get robbed and lose 3 teeth, when you get pistol whipped. It'd be your fault. Anyway. So yeah, just be a little bit more. I'm just asking this. Stop punishing your fellow tribe members for simply wanting to exist and be happy about their own heritage. You don't even have to, that's a baby step. The baby step is just letting them feel okay, not punishing them, not calling them racist, not calling them a Nazi, not piling on, not joining in with the other tribes. That's the baby step I'm asking people from my tribe to do. Let that go. Allow yourself to be a little bit tribal. Allow yourself to see the beauty in your fellow white people. Just allow yourself to see them as human beings, eking their way through existence. You're not a vampire. Your friends aren't vampires. You're not Nazis. You're not KKK members. And you don't deserve to die. You deserve a nice, wonderful, happy life. Thanks for listening. Unnecessary outro song to totally waste more